Hola, bom dia mundo. It's been a bit rainy this morning, so we're going to get on with the Q&A while we're not going out. You ready with the questions?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Getting comfy.
Yeah, getting cozy in the blanket. Let's go.
Okay, so first up we have a question from Dora Silveira, and she asks, in what ways do you believe that making vlogs influences the way you live and feel on a daily basis? Oh, in good and eventually bad ways.
Sometimes we question whether we're doing something for the vlog or whether we're doing it just for us.
Yeah, we often say, oh, what are we doing today? We have to go out today, but maybe we wouldn't go out on a normal day if we weren't vlogging, but we feel we have to go out, even if it's just around the village or something, because we need to film something, and it's more interesting than just seeing us sitting in the house. So that's,
in a sense, that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, I was going to say it's a good thing because we're out and it gets us out more. Yeah. But it's also a bad thing because maybe we're doing it because we wouldn't do it. Yeah,
for entertainment purposes. So it's a fine line. It's a psychological barrier that we have to overcome. Sometimes it's okay that we have this deadline, like a daily video to produce, because it makes us do things more. We'll go out more than we would perhaps if we were just having a work day. So I guess that's kind of a mixed good and bad point, but it depends on how you're feeling on the day.
Yeah, that's true. So if you don't want to go out and you feel like you have to go out, and then it becomes a bit of a chore. Yeah. Also, I feel sometimes that we talk to each other through the camera because we want to save what we're saying. Yeah. So it's not rehearsed. So if we want to talk about something, we'll talk about it on a vlog rather than sitting down as a couple and talking about something. Because then if we talked about it again, it would be second-hand. Yeah, we'd be faking it.
Yeah, we'd be acting the second time round. So that does happen. Like, so we'll get halfway through a conversation, and then Sasha will say, "Oh, we should film this because this is something we want to remember," and then we'll stop and then say, "Oh, we were just saying," which you've probably noticed, and then carry on.
But then, it kind of takes away the
spontaneity
of just talking to each other as husband and wife, or mother and father. You know, it feels like. Sometimes it can be like going through half a day or a whole day sometimes, and we haven't actually talked to each other off camera because we've been filming all day. So that's a bit strange sometimes.
So the life of like kind of daily vlogging can be very psychologically taxing on a couple and on anybody really, because you do weigh up a lot of decisions that perhaps somebody who doesn't do this for a living would never have to face.
Yeah, and sometimes if I'm in the kitchen, say, and Jay's in the living room, he'll be vlogging, but I think he's talking to me, so I'll answer and I'm like, oh, actually you're not talking to me, you're vlogging. So it's like there's another person in our house and it's the camera.
So to answer the question in a more simple form, it's very difficult to kind of gauge whether those things are good things or bad, because doing the vlogs keeps us motivated and it helps us to carry on and stay on a track and on deadline with things, but at the same time that could be considered a bad thing.
Dora also has another question. Do you still not read the YouTube comments? If you read, how do you deal with the negative and sometimes plain mean ones?
Well, the way that we've kind of come around to dealing with this is I get somebody else to read them for me, like somebody that's not us, because you can't read these things about yourself every day. It would completely destroy you. So other people, like people in my family, they read the comments for me, they come up with a kind of roundup feeling, and they'll give me the important points and let us know what people have been saying. That way we can filter out some of the really negative stuff and they can deal with it because they're not us.
The main reason why, when we first started, we were reading the comments every day. It was destroying us mentally.
We couldn't do it.
Well, I was in tears. It was, you get up in the morning, I'm not going to vlog today. Someone said that, whatever,
The personal, horrible stuff.
So to deal with it, we don't read it, because you wouldn't have that kind of negativity on a daily basis if you weren't doing this. And to put yourself in that situation where you're confronted with all this stuff for no reason, so we don't want to absorb it. So if we did, we wouldn't be vlogging. So
it would make us negative people because we'd constantly be defending ourselves, and I found myself staying up until 2-3 o'clock in the morning in the early days just arguing with people that I've never met.
Or trying to defend yourself. So really we just stopped trying to defend ourselves because we don't need to personally and in our own life, we don't need to defend ourselves.
Yeah, and in the end it worked out better because we can stay more positive, we can keep doing this, and any kind of real feedback that we need comes through family and through friends that read it for us.
We do see some of the comments, but we don't actively read every comment every day because it is
on
too
YouTube.
Much.
On YouTube. So it's a very, very good questions from Dora there. I'm glad you asked that because it's something we haven't spoken about for a long time, and I feel like people should know kind of some of the behind the scenes of how we deal with that. So thanks for that question, Dora. It's a good one.
Next up is Nathan Siri. Do you cook vegan Thai food at all, or any other Asian food? Not Asian, don't know what that is. Besides Indian, that I've seen you guys enjoy often. So I've got a couple of Thai-inspired recipes in the ebook, which is coming along great. Thank you, Nathan, for asking. I've got a couple more to write up before it will be finished. But there is a Thai noodle soup in the cookbook, which is very delicious.
It requires ingredients that we can't get in our local shop. It's a very delicious meal, but what we find is with a lot of vegan Asian food is that a lot of dishes require fish sauce or oyster sauce, and so you have to cook when you take.
Which is easy to replace.
It's easy to replace, but like some authentic Asian cooks would say it's no longer proper Asian food without it.
There is another one of stir-fry tofu recipe with bean sprouts, and I think by adding a lot of lime and a lot of coriander, give it the Thai-ness and coconut milk. So anything that has that in, we feel is a good substitute for a proper Thai curry with green curry paste and stuff like that. So,
and chilli.
Chilies of course. Nathan's also asking, do you still stay in touch with Johnny?
Johnny, there is something happening from Thailand. He's the guy that bought the Escort, the old car from us back in Thailand, a good friend of mine. Yes, I talk to him almost daily. We got in touch because of our old car, and then we stayed in touch because of that for a very long time. We have like a lot of deep conversations with each other. Me and Johnny are still friends. You don't speak to him as much, do you?
No, I do. I say a few how are you and happy birthday, and that's
Johnny's my buddy. We speak a lot. We do stay in contact with him, and hopefully we'll get to see him again soon if we can make it back to Thailand.
Sonia Jeffers, on the first Q&A you mentioned you found your trip to India enjoyable but also difficult. Could you talk about what difficulties you found during that trip?
Well,
I think initially, because it was our very first trip, it was our first stop off on our round the world tour that we done. We were young and
didn't know anything about travelling.
Initially it was a major culture shock. So arriving in Delhi airport,
getting mobbed by like loads of people trying to overcharge you for like taxis and everything because you're a foreigner. It was the first time we'd experienced that.
So we had some situations where we were scammed out of quite a bit of money for train tickets that never appeared. We got the money back actually. We put up a bit of a fight for that one, but we got it back. So we were scammed.
There were clone hotels and stuff. So like for example, you read in a guidebook that you want to
rough guide, didn't we?
You had a rough guidebook, and we'd say we want to stay at this hotel. You'd book a taxi, you'd get in it, and they'd say, we'll take you to the hotel, and they'd take you to a doppelganger hotel, which had exactly the same name.
Cousins, brothers, friends hotel.
So you've moved into this place thinking it's the one in the rough guide, but it's actually some second hotel that someone's kind of like piggybacking off the name. And you'd stay there for a few days, and then you'd realise you were in the wrong hotel, and it didn't match up to the standard, and you'd paid more money than you were supposed to. It was that kind of stuff happens quite a lot, and you have to deal with that. We were there for 2 months, and it got taxing after a month.
I think mainly the chaos of it all, like it's very much in your face all the time. Everyone's grabbing at you. There's lots of people were crowding around me because of the blonde hair, Everyone was touching me as I was walking down the street, not in a sexual way, horrible way, but just like touching my hair and wanting to touch my skin and things like that, which I found a bit
intrusive.
I didn't want to go out some days, so I was like, I'm just going to get mobbed, and I didn't really like that. We both got really sick.
I lost my shoes. My shoes got stolen, and I was walking around the streets of Agra with nothing on my feet. And then some little kid took me to this his friend's leather shop, and they sold me some manky shoes, and we later thought maybe it was the kid himself that stole the shoes and then lead us to his friend's shop to sell us the shoes. So those kind of things happen a lot.
we both got nosebleeds because of the pollution, but not just like a little nosebleed, it was like a, whoa, that's a nosebleed.
Yeah, it was like proper gushing. I feel like we're making this sound really bad.
No, but I mean,
India's trip was also a highlight of our life.
Yeah, it was. There's some amazing places we went to in India, amazing foods and things like that, but when it was the shock of it, I think, because it was our first. I think if we went back there now, knowing what we know, it wouldn't be so.
We could handle it a lot better. We'd know what to expect, and we'd know how to deal with it, and we'd be able to kind of get through some of the knowing what was coming would be a big help.
Yeah.
And our age now, like I feel like we've matured a lot over time.
We were quite naive when we first went off.
We wanted to be backpackers.
Yeah.
And we threw ourselves into the backpacker world. We realised the backpacker world was manky, so we quickly moved up to like a kind of somewhere in between. Like we didn't stay in the hostels anymore. We stayed in like we had our own private room with a toilet. But even then, some of the rooms would be like full of cockroaches and bugs. But the experience was like kind of life-changing. It's
definitely.
You look at the people around you and you see how they deal with their situation, and it's inspiring in a way, because sometimes like in London we used to have a lot of homeless people, didn't we, in the past, and they'd just be begging on the street, but they wouldn't really be offering anything, because that in England you can't really do that. You're not allowed to sell a service or have a business without like licensing. In India, even if you've got no legs, you're working. And it was inspiring to see people like riding up to you with like on a bicycle that you're wheeling by your hands, no legs, and they're offering to ride you to the train station, carry all your bags and everything. And I was like, wow, I'm willing to pay this guy money, because that's unbelievable. So that was like, you know, moved my heart, changed the way I saw the world.
Yeah.
So India is an amazing place to go.
It is, yeah.
Just be prepared to be shocked into a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to deal with, but at the same time, it's a fantastic learning place to go and see stuff.
Yeah, you really do see things that you would never see from the West. So, those were the difficulties, but a life-changing place, and you should go there if you're looking for adventure. It's a good place to go.
I would go back.
I would go back.
I would like to go back. Jill Eslinger says, what were each of you most surprised about or not prepared for in becoming parents? And also, what do you admire most about each other in regard to your parenting? Most surprised about or not prepared for in becoming parents? For me, initially, I was surprised at how hard breastfeeding was. I really, really struggled with that. I only managed to do it for less than 3 weeks.
And that was not through lack of trying.
No, I really wanted to, but I think because of the C-section and everything, and being an emergency C-section, my body wasn't prepared in the way it should have been, and it was all a bit of a mess in the beginning, really. And
emotionally draining as well, because Sasha didn't manage to do the home birth the way that she'd planned for it to go, and then to have breastfeeding taken away from her because her body wasn't allowed to do it in some way was, I could really see it taxing you. And even till today, like, we still talk about it. So
I still get quite emotional about it, but I was surprised at that, and I wasn't prepared. I thought in my head that that's how it was going to be, and it wasn't. So I had to then have to change instantly and dramatically how Story's beginning of life was going to be, and I found that quite difficult to deal with. So that was a shock, really. And going forward a few months, I'm surprised at how difficult potty training is.
Okay, let's talk about what I'm finding difficult. Story is changing so much, right? So for me, I find I'm very good at like working out how something works and then taking care of that thing. But then Story switches up the game. So I'm like, okay, time for the next challenge. And I'm like doing this constantly, but it's challenging me to become a better human. And that's something that I kind of did expect in a way. It's good for me.
And also she says, what do you admire most about each other in regards to your parenting? So I'll go first. I like that...
I don't know what she's going to say.
I like that you were a bit apprehensive, more so than me, about becoming a dad. But you've really taken to it like a natural, and I didn't expect that. I'm getting a bit emotional saying it. And I like how patient you are and how much you love her.
How could you not love that lovely girl? She's beautiful. For me, like I'm amazed at how adapting You are. Sasha's had to go through a lot of like physical changes, and the impact of having a child on a woman is a huge thing that I don't think any man can truly understand. And I'm amazed at how well you've coped with it. And you're just an amazing mum.
Thank you.
So loving, and Sasha takes care of things that I forget as a guy. I do things like, you know, oh, this is my task for today, this is my task for today, and then by the end of the day, I've forgotten all the little things that not only a mother, but you were very good at kind of remembering to do, just keeping things nice.
Thanks.
And those are the things that I really like about what you've done for Story and for us as a couple.
Thank you, Jill, you made me cry.
Yeah, that was a good question. I didn't expect that, actually.
Next question is from John Buchan, and he says, first off, we love your videos, your daughter is delightful. We have seen that Story proves a vegan diet will not hinder her child's development, yes. And my question is about your blogging equipment. Why do you still use the Sony A5100?
You don't even know what it is.
Especially since you had to get another camera.
This is the camera that we're using right now. We use it because it's a good bridge between the big SLR camera and the small point and shoot cameras. It's got the same size sensor. It provides a nice kind of blurry background, and it just performs really well. It's lightweight, doesn't destroy my arm, and it's reasonably priced.
I was going to say, and it's affordable as
yeah,
well.
if you buy this camera second hand, you can get it for about £200. So to replace this camera is okay. Whereas our other vlogging camera that just broke was about almost £1,000, and when that breaks, it's not cheap. So we use these things every day. They get a bit of abuse, so I feel more comfortable with something that can be easily replaced with our kind of budget and finances. So that's why we're still using this A5100 as our daily vlogging camera.
We plan to start vlogging our trips.
Good luck.
We will need a good intro. Can we hire you to do our intro?
Yes, send me an email and just make the subject intro, and we'll get in touch about that.
Okay, Paul Latshaw. I'm delighted to be an 8-miler. Yeah! So guys, one thing missing from your videos is any hint of routine daily interaction with the people of Motagua. Who do you see every week? Do you know any of the villagers? Do you converse with them in Portuguese? Do you have any friends in the village? I don't mean to seem critical, I know you just can't film people without permission, but I also get the impression that you're the only 3 people living in Motagua. Can you give us an expanded view of your life there? Well, Paul, sometimes we feel like the only 3 people living in Motagua, so...
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why it appears that way in the videos. Firstly, the population in Portugal is quite low. For the size of the country, it's quite low, and most of the people are concentrated in this kind of area, in Setúbal and Lisbon and Porto. So when you get to the villages, sometimes we'd be driving like for an hour through the villages and you don't see anybody. No. And you can check this for yourself. If you go on like Google Street View and you click through like local villages, nobody there.
There's no people.
It's so quiet.
It is very quiet, and especially where we are, it's obviously not a well-known area for expats to move to. I mean, there are expat families. Yeah. Once you live here, you start finding out who's around and things like that. But in our specific village, it is very quiet, and we can go, especially on a Sunday, we can go all day without hearing another noise. That everyone's resting or whatever they do on a Sunday.
Exactly.
No one is out. So yeah, we can go for a couple of days without seeing other people, especially if we don't make an effort to leave the house and go out somewhere.
The person we see the most is our direct neighbour, George, who's about 2 houses down. We speak to him, he asks us about our olives, and he asks us about Story sometimes. Very rare that he comes and talks to us. He's a busy guy, he's farming most of the time.
The lady that has the patch of land next to us that's part of our view, she's often there. She talks to us about Story, and she always asks us about the baby, and it's very what's the word, broken
it's
Portuguese,
a broken conversation.
We get the gist of what she's saying, and we do wave and say hello to people as they go past on their tractors. And there is another guy, isn't there, the man that wears the hat?
Oh yeah, the guy with the hat. I don't know his name.
He only speaks French or Portuguese. But we have had a little chat with him a couple of times, but mainly it's saying hello and
they ask about Story.
That's about it. That's as far as it goes. But in terms of filming them when they do happen, it's not really a situation where we can quickly get the camera ready to film it because it is a passing conversation.
Like sometimes I'll open the door and the door opens right out onto the lady's farm across the way. So I've opened the door to let Eden out and the conversation is there. So I can't like then stop, go get the camera, bring it out.
And that would be a bit weird.
It would be weird, yeah.
Also, you've asked here, could you give us an expanded view of your life there? So what we thought we could do when we get back to Motagua, back home, we could take you on a little walkabout tour of Motagua.
Yeah.
We could choose like the peak time of day. Not entirely sure when that would be, but
when we think people might be about, and then we'll show you what it's like street for street in the main areas of Motagua.
We'll go to the where the Camera Municipal is, where the post office is, the
park.
cafe, and just show you around in real time what it's actually like. Because there are people that live in Motagua.
Yeah.
It's just. Yeah, it's
quiet.
It's a quiet place, so it is what it is.
Yeah. What's next?
This is the last one actually, from Claire Afonso. Are you planning to take Story to the Cabiesa's Aldea Natal this year? Have a nice day. Yay!
Yeah.
I want to!
The Aldea Natal was the eco Christmas village that we went to when Story was 2 months old.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Oh, she was so small.
She was so small, but like the local villagers, they played music in the streets.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
I think Story would really like it now because they walked around in like a little band,
bashing
didn't
the
they?
drums,
and Story would dance to it now and stuff like that.
She would probably go into the square and dance with them.
That would be really nice.
It would be nice to go up there, yeah, definitely. We'll see when it's on, but we also want to see the Obidush Christmas village, which is meant to be smashing. It's meant to be really good.
I think it's at the end of this month.
Yeah, so we might be able to put a day trip in for that because that would be amazing. We'd love to show that and we'd love to experience it ourselves.
Yeah, I love a Christmas market. So.
Yeah, that would be good to do.
Yeah.
And that's all of the questions from our 8-milers, but I've got a bonus question for you.
Okay.
How did you find being alone with Story, travelling with her without me for the first time?
Okay, yeah, it was interesting. It was challenging at times, but I actually really enjoyed it more than I didn't enjoy it. I liked being just me and Story, and I thought it gave us a good time to bond. Like it was just me, and she knew that, and I think she kind of reacted to that as well.
She didn't ask for me much, did she?
She didn't ask for you, no.
No. Well,
sometimes even when I said, shall we phone Daddy, she was like, and it was just nice to be back home and be with my mum and my sister and my nieces and nephews, because I don't see them often enough, like as often as I would like to. So it was nice for Story to have some extended time with kind of less distractions, because when we're both there, we're off, we've got a car, we're off doing things. We
can escape together and do our own things and return to comfort zones, isn't it?
Yeah, whereas this time I was with my sister a lot because I was staying at her house in the beginning, and then I was staying at my mum's for the last couple of days. So it was nice for Story to have some one-on-one time with my mum. But yeah, I think I coped quite well solo parenting.
Yeah, I did. When Sasha came back, I was like, I'm really proud of you. This is not something that is easy to do. Yeah. I know I would have struggled with it on my own.
It was very exhausting because Story would wake up at 6:30, and pretty much the whole time that we were away, she wasn't going to bed before 10 o'clock. So there was too much going on, there was too much partying.
It's going to take a while for her to get back into her home routine.
Yeah.
But I think she is looking forward to going home.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it. All the questions are answered. Hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed answering them.
I thought that was quite a good one.
Stirred me up emotionally. When the sunshine comes out today, we'll do some exploring and make some more videos. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Just stunning views everywhere. Look at that. She just did a little thumbs up.
First ever time splashing around in the puddles. Look at her little dress flying in the wind. So many cool things in here. We've just gone underneath the staircase.
So picturesque.
Guess what? That's yours.
Go fly over mountains.